Britney Renee. This is the podcast where we talk about what your purpose is, entrepreneurship, and everything in between. Today we will be talking about the history of Signature Required and where it started. Signature Required came about 7 years ago. It actually was going to be an adult clothing line. I came up with the name. Signature Required is on everything. When you see mail or when you're receiving mail, usually your signature is required. And so when I came up with the name, I wasn't quite sure if it was something that I would be able to get trademarked because it was so popular, I thought. And so after writing my book, Putting on Face, and talking about the scars that I hid behind a smile, it just really kind of put me in a different mind space of Signature Required. And I went through this moment where I thought about if I wanted an adult clothing line connected to my name or my legacy down the years. And so after thinking about that, I kind of pivoted and asked myself, what can I do with Signature Required that had more meaning? So I looked into the domain and someone actually owned the domain. And so I thought that someone also owned the trademark. I reached out to them and I asked them if they were selling the domain name, and they said that they were. Well, I had a friend who does that for a living. He buys domain names and he sells them. And so when I asked if they were selling it, they told me yes. And so I said, well, maybe there is no one that owns the trademark and I can look into that. I looked into the trademark briefly, not a whole bunch. And then I just kind of sat on it for a little while. They were trying to sell it for a substantial amount. And so, one, I didn't have the money then. And two, I said, if I go back to it and it's still there, then maybe it's meant to be. And so, fast forward, I've started businesses. I've been successful in some, failed others. Signature Required was always something that I wanted to do to leave a legacy. And so, after having several businesses and getting established with my businesses and having more time to put into Signature Required, I went back to the domain and I negotiated again a price. And lo and behold, they came down a lot on the price and I was able to purchase it. Once I purchased the domain name, I reached out to an attorney that was a referral off of Clubhouse. She's a trademark attorney, and I got in contact with her. I told her my vision for Signature Required, and she loved it. And she said, well, you're right, that is a very popular name, but I'm going to do, everything that I can do to see if we can get you a trademark on it. So I submitted all the paperwork, or she submitted all the paperwork rather. And then about maybe 8 months ago, I got the call from her that everything went through and that I was approved to own this trademark Signature Required. And so from there, that is when I started to develop the brand. Signature Required being something that's attached to your name. I wanted something that, again, I could leave a legacy. At the end of the day, your name has power, your name has value, and your name is also attached to your purpose. And so just kind of thinking of the things that I wanted to be known for, or the legacy that I wanted to leave behind, I wanted it to be something that was of value and something that was of power. And when it's all said and done, no matter how much money you have, no matter all the accolades you have, your name is what will live on forever. And so that is the history behind Signature Required and where it came from. Fast forward to building the brand, we started with about 20 individuals and we led a campaign, and that campaign was, what is your purpose? And so we asked those individuals to share their purpose. Through that, we just learned a lot of different things about people, their purpose in life. And one of the things that I learned is that there are people who don't know their purpose or not even where to start to find their purpose. And so with Signature Required, my mission is to inspire until I expire, and that is also the mission for Signature Required, to teach individuals or even to create a conversation of the value of your name, your purpose, and to walk in that. Now, there's so many different athletes, entrepreneurs, entertainers who are given contracts, and unfortunately in our community we are not taught to read contracts. And so often we see individuals who sign contracts without reading them and not knowing what they're signing their name on. With Signature Required, I definitely look forward to creating that conversation and creating a community based around encouraging individuals, and especially our younger individuals, to know that their name has power and their name has purpose, and to wear their name proud, and to always know that whatever they tie themselves to will essentially lay the foundation for their future, and to just always make sure that you are connecting yourself to individuals of value. It can be detrimental to your future in the long run. You know, the history of Signature Required, I hope and pray to build it into a conglomerate as LVMH, and really just expand, you know, the brand and go internationally with the brand. I do believe that it is a brand that has value, and I do believe that it is a brand that will really give back to many communities, and just really share the value of one's name and the power that it has. I would hope to work with brands like Nike, Spiritual Gangster, LVMH, brands that have been built over time, that has also been built with a purpose and a mission. So I am your host, Miss Britney Renee, and Signature Required is here to stay. So please stay tuned for the next episode of the Signature Required podcast. And if you ever want to share your story and your purpose and where you started and, you know, where you hope to go, we would love to have you on the podcast. So I look forward to connecting with you all, and stay blessed.